Airbnb started as an affordable alternative to hotels. And it's really important for Airbnb to be affordable that we have enough homes. And we don't have enough homes, then there's constrained supply and then the prices go up. So we really want to make sure we're affordable. And that means we need a lot more hosts. And one of the things is that as we've reached out to prospective hosts, a lot of people have expressed interest in hosting an Airbnb. It's a great way to make extra income, but not everyone can host. Let's say somebody has a second home in somewhere in Mexico and they don't live there, they can't host. And so we asked ourselves, well, what if we actually made it much easier for more people to be hosts by pairing people that have homes, but they don't have time with our best hosts on Airbnb that want to expand their business. And what people do today is either they don't host or they go on Google and they search for a third-party property manager. The problem is the third-party property managers don't have as high ratings on Airbnb as our very best host. The average rating of a third-party property manager is 4.62. So what we've done is we built a network of 10,000 co-hosts, starting now in 10 countries. They have an average rating of 4.86. So these are some of our very best hosts in Airbnb. 73% of them are super hosts. Like 85% or so have a guest favorite listing. So essentially what we're doing is if you've ever wanted to host, if you've ever wanted your home to make you money, now you can go on Airbnb and find a trusted host who's the very best of our community who can take care of your home. And we made it very, very easy. We can integrate so you can give them whatever settings you want. They can do a part of the job, all the job. You negotiate with them how much they get paid. We match you with the very best people. You can message them through the app and interview them. So we tried to make the entire thing really easy. And I'm very, very confident this is going to lead to a lot of people putting their homes in Airbnb. And here's the best part. It's going to lead to a lot of everyday people, everyday, Mexicans, everyday Americans, everyday people throughout the world that want to list the home they live in or their second home. And now they can have the peace of mind knowing that the person managing their home is going to represent them well, and they're going to treat the guests with the same kind of care they would want to treat them. And it really takes a lot of the risk and uncertainty and work out of hosting. So you can decide how much of the job you want to give them and how much you want to do yourself. And, and then you can have a sliding scale of what you pay them. And you basically pay them a cut of your bookings. And that, of course, is negotiated between you and the co-host based on what they ask for and what you think is fair based on the job you're giving them. So it's like a marketplace. And we match you with the very best host. Over 10,000 co-hosts, we match you based on 80 factors. The most important factor is location, though. We obviously find that unless they're never going to help you in person, we want to match with a co-host that's local to you and around you. But there's a lot of other factors we use. Here's what I'd say. These are the first 10 countries. So we're launching in North America. We have a couple countries in Latin America, like Brazil, and then we have European countries, and then we also have Australia. These 10 countries are 10 of our largest markets. So we just started with 10 of our largest markets, but we're in 220 countries and regions, and the co-host network is going to expand to eventually every country in the world that we operate. That's our ambition. These 10 countries, though they're a very small number of the countries that we're in, they actually do represent the majority of our business. The disproportionate number of business are in these countries, right? Because these are really large travel markets. Well, I think that the most important thing we can do is be good partners to cities and to countries, and starting with basically providing information and transparency. So let's take Mexico. In Mexico, one of the things we're able to do is show the local Mexican governments that about half of our business in Mexico comes from Mexican travelers. So it's not just an inbound market. It's a very robust market, and about half our business are Mexican travelers. Mexican guests really love Airbnb. There's more than nearly a million new guests tried Airbnb from Mexico. And the other thing we do is let's take Mexico City. We will often share data about the economic impact that we have on a city. So to take Mexico City and just take the year 2023, so last year, because we have full year data, we estimate that we helped generate $880 billion worth of economic impact that supported approximately 63,000 jobs just in Mexico City alone. So you start to see, number one, the economic impact. The second thing we do is we try to paint a picture of who our hosts are. And I think there's often a perception that our hosts are maybe not locals. They might be property managers. They're not of the community. And what we're able to show is that a large percent of hosts actually live in these cities. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'll say that we do not allow hidden cameras inside of properties. We allow them, we allow surveillance cameras on the exterior of a property. That is, we think, reasonable. But once you're in a physical property, we do not allow hidden cameras inside the property. If somebody is caught with a hidden camera, they are removed from the platform, and we will cooperate with law enforcement, because this is very much a crime to depending upon the nature of the surveillance. So we have zero tolerance for hidden cameras. The other thing I'll just say is when we do get reports, we take action, and the reports are exceedingly rare. It is the amazing thing about Airbnb is we're in 100,000 cities. So I think that's the key point. The key point is old travel was about everyone going to the same 10 or 20 places. They go to Rome, they go to Paris, they go to London, they go to Vegas, they go to Miami. But I think that new travel and Airbnb is about spreading people out, about people discovering small towns and local communities around the world. And I think, there is a problem in the world of over-tourism, but I don't think that's a problem of too many people traveling. I think it's too many people going to the same places at the same time. And so I think part of what we want to do at Airbnb is be able to inspire people to see more places in the world and go at different times. And I think one thing that's really interesting is that Mexican travelers, for example, half the time now they're booking stays in Mexico. They're not just going to Miami or to New York City, which would be a classic corridor destination. They're going to smaller towns, smaller beach communities as well. So that is, I think, the most important vision that we have, is that it's not about any specific trending list, but it's about spreading travel to thousands and thousands of communities all over the world. Well, I think gentrification is a complicated issue. And one of the things I would say is this. When we started Airbnb, as in my co-founder and I were the first hosts. And we listed we built a website to list our home on the website because we couldn't afford to pay our rent and mortgage. And the income that we made really allowed us to stay in our home. And we found that a large percent of our hosts, more than 50%, tell us they use the income they make on Airbnb to be able to pay their rent or mortgage and to help stay in their property. So, gentrification's a complicated issue. We want to make sure that people aren't taking housing off the market and using as dedicated rentals if that housing the city wants for local residents. At the same time, I do find cities trying to create constraints and nights caps. They're really trying to cap the number of nights people can host. And this has a good intention of trying to limit it to people who live in that market. The downside is sometimes people who are living in that market, who do need that money, are now constrained financially to the number of nights they can rent. So if I'm living in Mexico City and I'm like an artist or I'm a teacher or a healthcare worker, maybe I want to rent an extra bedroom in my house, or I cohabitate with a partner, and sometimes that place, sometimes not. We want to really make sure that they are allowed to stay in their home. So it's a very complicated issue. There are times you're on the wrong side of it, but there are times you're on the right side of it. And the key when you're a platform like us is to always adapt and always to make sure that you're on the right side of the issue.